Rev up your engines!
Terry Cudera says, what's your favorite brand of motor oil? Do you prefer synthetic over conventional? They figured out synthetic oil a long time ago. Originally, when they first came out, they didn't have the right additives. They'd leak, they'd burn oil, but that's not the case. Now, I happen to like castor oil. I've been using it for ages, don't have any problems, so I'm happy with it. But any company that you've heard of makes decent synthetic oil, Mobil, Texaco, Valvoline, whoever. I, though, would be leery of things that no one's heard of, no-name brands, because really, you never know who's actually tested the stuff. The big oil companies, man, I went to Shell Oil one time. They invited me into their technology center in Houston, Texas. They had roomfuls of mass spectrometers. They knew what they were doing when they were making oil and gasoline. So, stick to a major brand. That's all I gotta say. Barack Singh says, Scotty, what are your thoughts on Stellantis recalling plug-in Jeeps because the batteries are catching on fire while the trucks are parked in garages? Okay, well, pretty typical for the crap that Stellantis makes these days. That's just the way that it goes. It's a horrible company. They are now European, they're French, Italian, combination of the Italians and the French. They don't care about Americans, they don't know anything about anything. Then they decided, oh, let's make plug-in hybrid vehicles. Now, regular hybrid vehicles usually aren't too bad because they have a smaller battery, it's usually inside the car. Safe, right? Under the back seat normally. But salt water gets them in the winter. Any kind of rain can get in, ruin them. They start on fire. And these Jeeps are doing it. They're telling you, don't park it in your garage. You might burn your house down. Don't park it under a tree. Might start the tree on fire. These are vehicles that are just sitting there. They're not being charged up. They're so poorly made. Anybody who would buy a hybrid Jeep product, as far as I'm concerned, is out of their mind. Listen to me. If there's one thing you listen to me, don't buy a Stellantis product. And you won't have to deal with this crap. Rhoda Holdberg says, Scotty, I got a 2017 Corolla. It's never had the tranny fluid change. It's got 115,000 now. Should I go ahead and drain and fill? All right. I would because it's a Toyota. Like if that was a Chrysler or a Ford or a GM, I'd say no. It might start slipping. But with the Toyotas, they don't really have that problem. Just drain it. Measure exactly what came out. Put the same amount back in of the Toyota OEM fluid. Now, Toyota doesn't make the fluid, but buy the Toyota OEM fluid because it's got the same ingredients in it. And when you're changing the fluid, you're only getting about 1/3 or less of the fluid that's in the tranny when you drain it. So you're going to mix the same fluid with the same fluid. If you get a different type of fluid, it's mixing with the original Toyota. Who knows what will happen? Filling Tag says, I got an 07 Tundra. Sometimes I give it gas. The truck seems to take a lot more to get it going, like if the transmission's slipping, but sometimes it doesn't. Any guess? Okay. You can tell if the transmission is slipping. If the transmission's slipping, your RPMs will go up, but the speedometer won't follow it. It'll be slipping. That's easy to tell. If that's the case, pray you're just low on fluid, because if it's the transmission wearing out, they cost a fortune. If you're just talking about stepping on the gas, sometimes it takes a while to take off. Many things can do that. Worn out spark plugs, dirty fuel injectors that need cleaning, a clogged air filter, weak fuel pump, many things. As a mechanic, I put in my fancy Scantoke road test it when it hesitates. It records that data. I review the data and see what's wrong. But you can start with the simple things: spark plugs, air filter, fuel filter, all the easy things. And maybe put a can of good fuel injector cleaner in the tank, because sometimes clogged injectors will do that too. Sam Mindel says, why does my AC take 5 to 10 minutes to get cool on my 2018 Ford F-150? If it takes 5-10 minutes, then it gets cool. The most common thing that does that, the absolute most common, is you're just low on refrigerant. All AC compressors that are belt driven lose refrigerant over time. The seal at the end of the shaft, it was a perfect seal and it didn't leak. It would run dry and everything would leak out. So they're made to leak a little, so the AC oil leaks through them and lubricates the seals. Houses don't generally leak because they're all metal lines and the pump doesn't have a shaft. It's sealed inside the whole compressor assembly, so they don't leak. But cars all leak a little. Have it checked. Probably you're just a little low on refrigerant, and top it up. Now, if it's not that, sometimes the cooling fans aren't working. Check the cooling fans, and do even look in front of your radiator, because sometimes a bag or plastic crap blocks the airflow, and then it won't cool as well. Omazy says, I have small amount of coolant stains around the connection, hoses, radiator, thermostat, on my 95 Lexus SC 400. Should I be worried? It's original radiator. It doesn't overheat or smoke. Okay, well, They all have little bits that will seep out. If you're not losing any coolant, it's meaningless. Do look, if you see a bunch of crust, then you need another clamp, or maybe the rubber's worn and it needs to be replaced. The hose, you'll always see a little bit of crust in here and there. I see a little bit in my wife's '07 Matrix, and no problems with it. It's just you lose a little bit here and there. Who really cares? It's not that big of a deal, right? But if it's actually dripping, then you would want to fix it. Austin Braden says, what is the very first car you've driven in your life? Okay. It was Mercury. My grandfather, Bill McLean, had a Mercury. It was one of those Mercuries that had the slanted window in the back that would go up and down. And he was kind of crazy. We kids liked him because we'd have pear wars. We'd pick pears off trees, throw them into kids and stuff. He'd catch bees in his hands and throw them at people, right? Well, when I was 12 years old, he let me drive it. I'm driving this big old Mercury around. Now, I lived on Cayuga Island, which is the last inhabited island before Niagara Falls goes over the edge. So it's just a small island. It's got a circle that goes around it. Not much traffic, so it wasn't that big deal. But that's what I was driving. It was a big old V8 Mercury with a slant window in the back. I still remember the Rolling Stones Satisfaction had just come out. It was a new song back in those days. Comments B4View says, this guy doesn't know anything. Well, hey, I know some things and other things I don't know, but I know quite a bit about cars, right? And if you think I don't know anything, I challenge you to a debate on technology and cars, and I guarantee you I will blow you away. My mind still works. I remember all the cars I've worked on. I don't remember that many of the people. I don't know their names, but I remember the cars, right? You remember what you're working on, what fixed what, and the ones that were the hardest to fix are the ones you remember the most. And if anybody thinks I don't know anything, yeah, there's some things I don't know. For example, I don't know the meaning of life. I don't think anybody does, you know. And I used to be pretty good at algorithms and math, but I haven't done that in years. But I know a few things. James Archer says, could Holden ever make a comeback in Australia? I doubt it. GM made those Holdens. They made some nice big V8 racing cars, too. They made some nice vehicles. But they weren't making money. They could not compete with the Japanese. Australia's not that far from Japan and Asia. They get all those import cars come down there, decent quality, lower price. I doubt that Holden will ever come back to Australia. There's guys out there that'll fix them up, soup them up, maybe rebuild the old ones. But as for building new ones, no, I don't see that happening. No, GM is kind of leaving all the East there. They're just kind of saying sayonara because they can't compete with the Asian stuff. And I don't think they'll ever come back to Holden again. Anthony Hill says, what's your opinion of the Chrysler 300s? Okay, that's a long range there, baby. They made 300s back in the 50s. But the later model ones, say the ones that had V8 engines in them, what I call them, and a lot of other mechanics, they call them fast, but no class, because they could go fast, but they age, the engines blow up, the transmissions blew up. They were real fast to drive, zoom, zoom. Sons, friends, when he was going to high school, one of their fathers had one. They loved driving it like a maniac, 100-something miles an hour on the highways in Texas, but they don't hold up over time. They weren't particularly well built. They were fast when they were new, fun to drive, but when they broke, I had a customer in Houston, his tranny blew up. Got that fixed, then about 6 months later, the engine blew up. They're not very well-made cars. Sickening Slug said, do you think a 2000 Chevy Blazer is reliable? Well, if it's still running down the road, it showed it was relatively reliable, right? It's definitely more reliable than the new crap that they're making. There's no arguing that. You know, there's new ones are high-tech, things break on all the time, 9-speed automatic transmissions, and you know they're going to have problems. They had problems with the old ones, right? But at 2000, as far as I'm concerned, the last decent year that Chevy made trucks, SUVs, was 2000 to maybe 2002. After that, but an old one like that, of course, the thing is, you say, is it reliable? It's 25 years old. It might just be falling apart from old age and high mileage. You get an old vehicle, you better get a guy like me to check it out before you buy it. That's all I got to say. Daycare says, Scotty, what's the most reliable and durable vehicle Ford ever produced in any period? Probably the old Ford F-100s. A lot of them had the straight six engine. Not particularly powerful. A lot of torque, but not that much horsepower. But those suckers can just run and run. They had a 3-speed on the column shifter, 1, 2, 3 with reverse. And those 6-cylinder engines could just run and run and run. Totally reliable. My grandson's friend still has one he got from his grandfather. They keep smashing into it, running into it, hitting things, but it still goes down the road. Simple little carburetor. Originally in a wood barrel carburetor. They were reliable. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.